Hello and welcome to Finextra TV. I'm Alex Lippic. You join us here in Lisbon for EBAday 2024. And I'm very pleased indeed to be joined on the sofa in the studio by Daniel Hurst of FIS Global. Daniel, great to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alex. It's great to join you and looking forward to this conversation.
And what a great event, don't you think? Day two.
It's a wonderful event. I've been coming many years to EBAday, and this is probably the most vibrant it's ever been. I think it's the best attended, certainly since I've been, but it goes from strength to strength. And everybody in payments seems to be here, so it's fantastic to join.
It really has been a joy to be a part of. So, big question to start off with. I'm going to get straight to it.
Right. Okay.
Are banks ready for the rollout of instant payments, do you think?
Are banks ready for the rollout? I see that question on two different levels. In its most basic form, and unfortunately, if I come straight to the answer, I think unfortunately the answer is no on both levels. Right? I absolutely think the answer is no. And the most basic level I see is, will banks be compliant for the January the 9th, 2025 SEPA Instant Inbound Day? I mean, that's the most fundamental question there. And if I look at my own client base and I look at the behavior within the marketplace, then you see some interesting things. Some of the banks, some of the institutions are taking it super seriously. You know, nothing's going to stop them being compliant by that date. Other institutions are already in discussions with the regulators to say, we're not going to make the date, and our intention is not to make the date. And I see that firsthand. And then you have, you then have really a third layer who's actually coming into it, who they're sort of campaigning against the regulation to say, well, under PSD3, it's that PSD3 is more equivalent to payments accounts. So we're more of a savings bank. We're more of this type of a bank. So we don't feel we're actually part of the push, part of the jurisdiction. Could you please confirm and qualify where we are with it? So at the most basic level, I know the full market's not going to be ready, no way. And then at a higher level, I think the question then becomes, are banks ready for really the move of everything to real time, everything to real time payments, and everything that comes with that? Because it's not just the payment side of it. Payment speeds up, it's real time. That integrates to the core banking side. It integrates to the reconciliation side, the fraud detection side. So everything's got to speed up. And some banks are not running 24/7, 365 days a year. Some aren't. Some are, that's new for them. So, at two different levels, are banks ready? I think absolutely not. So some are, of course, some are. But I think the mass majority is we're on a transformation wave here, and it's not all going to be finished by January the 9th.
Sure.
My opinion.
Not just with a click of a finger.
Yes.
So you mentioned compliance, Daniel. Would
Yes.
you say that instant payments are all just about compliance, or are there other impacts banks need to consider, do you think?
Yeah, great one. In this case, I see compliance is a little bit of a gift here to consumers like you and I, because you want things instantly. You want your payments in real time. You want your services in real time, and also for the economies. So moving all the efficiency you gain through really good real-time systems in the banking community is really good for economy. The countries, the regions, and so forth. But the impact again to the banks and the technology providers is actually huge. And let's look at a few of the examples there. So you look at the basic regulation for SEPA Instant, be compliant by January the 9th. But the regulators have also said you must be able to split up batch files and turn them into single files. They've said the community cannot price a SEPA Instant or an instant transaction any more differently to a credit transfer, to a batch. They've also said if you accept a credit transfer in any of the channels, you've also got to accept an instant payment channel. So you see the regulation is saying go instant, go instant, go instant. And we're already seeing it with some of our clients in the Nordics, where there is undoubtedly going to be a move of batch-based traffic. So there's 60 billion SEPA payments in Europe. There's going to be a big sway of that batch base into instant. And what that means is that the throughput and the latency and the designs of the technology is way different to what it is today. So there's going to be a replenishment of these real-time systems anyway to cope with the huge volumes. So that's one big impact. We've talked about the move of 24/7 for these institutions. And I think the big elephant in the room, not so much an elephant anymore, probably a woolly mammoth, is I saw a panel yesterday. Well, I saw the output to it. It was the pictures, and they were doing Slido in the forum. They said, "What's the biggest challenge in an instant market currently?" And the first one by a mile, which shouldn't surprise me, but it did, was fraud. It was anti-fraud measures. And if you take the UK at the moment in the PSR reports, authorised push payment fraud is gone absolutely through the roof, through the ceiling. 40% now of the UK issue at £240 million. And if you just think, as Europe goes everything instant, well, what's going to happen to fraud? Well, you're probably staring at a €1 billion problem about to hit Europe. And we've not even talked about going overseas to the US. So, the impact is severe. So how do we increase the protection, increase the regulation around protecting people, protecting banks, protecting everybody that coexists?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I could sit and talk with you all day, to be honest, Daniel. We've looked at some of the impacts, the major impacts of instant payments and the challenges as well. Looking forwards, what do you see as the major changes that we should expect within the payment landscape?
Yes. Oh, okay. Excellent. Well, let's baseline the real time. You see, there's a transformation about to happen in real time, but let's say we're well through that now. So where does it go next? And we make all this investment in real time, so we should now jolly well make sure we make some benefit out of that. So I think it's the business overlay services really start coming to the fore. You see that with things like request to pay. I see two great examples of request to pay. One for corporations collecting their money, automating invoicing and asking people to pay and being a lot more proactive and streamlined in that area. And very much seeing the next stage of open banking against real time, where you begin to see the shift of card transactions and people getting a lot more comfortable of doing account to account in a frictionless way. So it just shows more and more volume going down these rails. So you begin to see the business overlay services. And I think the point I'm really looking forward to, because I work with so many corporate banks, so many in that transaction banking space, is the improvements that can come through sending your sterling transaction to dollars or to Mexican peso or whatever it might be. And it's somewhat inefficient at the moment, of course. It's lots of interbanks involved, long settlement cycles, liquidity issues, costly processes. But we're already seeing the CSMs of Europe team up with the CSMs in the US to provide link the real-time SEPA instant link to TCH, link to FedNow. And straight away then, through the touch of a button, it should be, a payment goes from here over to there far more efficiently, solving that liquidity issue, because the liquidity is instant as well. And I can see banks really begin to step into that area, link, a spider web of real time. And the benefits of that should be extreme for banks, for consumers, for retail, for corporates. And that's pretty exciting. We saw a few years back the emergence of Ripple, all the great work they were doing with blockchain processes to really bring efficiency to cross-border. I believe that comes again. So you're going to see the emergence of real-time rails, the emergence of more blockchain digital currencies, and it's going to be fascinating how those things come together.
It really is going to be fascinating. That's the key word there.
Fascinating.
A lot to look forward to. I wish we could spend all day talking about this.
Me too.
We can't, because you've got a busy schedule, which I'll let you get back to.
You
but
need
Daniel,
to get rid of me now. Yes.
Get rid of you. Thanks so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.